Welcome to this week's episode of Courageous Leaders Changing the World. Super excited for this week's guest, Tyler Erickson. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much for having us here, Cody. Pleasure.
All right. So the one question that we ask everyone is, what's been the time that you've had to summon more courage than any other time in your life?
More courage than any other time in my life. Oh. When my father first got diagnosed with dementia, and it was because I come from a nursing and medical family, I realised quite early what was going on, and Mum was sharing it with me. And I remember being young, 25. At 25, I thought I was old, but I remember being young and going, I'm going to have to bridge this for my brothers and be there for my mum in this scenario. And I didn't really have the skill set for that. So I spent a lot of time in deep reflection, and, I was living over in Cambodia, and I came home, and I remember taking him to play golf, knowing it was the last time that we would get to enjoy each other's company, because I had to go and work to make money like a grown-up person thinks they have to do. So I guess like the courage to understand the deeper level of mortality in life with somebody that I was so connected to, not as father-son, but as a mate, really it fundamentally changed the way I view the world, but it also really made me realize that I have so much more depth within me. It was a kickstart of a big journey.
What were some of the core things that kind of changed from that? Like, what was the picture before versus after?
I stopped pretending being in the moment was living. Like, that's probably not the right way to phrase that. I stopped pretending that being erratic and irrational was being in the moment.
Yeah.
I think that would be the key thing. I quickly realized that my behavior wasn't being careless and free. It was actually just being reckless a lot of the time. And by all means, it didn't instantly stop. It took some time, though. One of the core changes is it set me on a trajectory of wanting to forward plan, really wanting to understand who I am. I spent interesting language. I invested months and months and months just contemplating death. At the core, it's like, and what would it feel like? Not suicidal, just being like, okay, I'm going to die like my father one day. The repeating pattern is that every man on my father's side dies of dementia in between 80 and 95. So it's potentially my journey. And going through the dark night and sadness of that process, and then one day waking up and going, oh, that's the freedom in this. I get to look at what the next 35 years look like and fully live them, planned and living in the moment responsibly, not recklessly.
And what did that shift in terms of, what you were doing? What were you doing for work beforehand? What shifted afterwards?
I was backpacking around the world, sort of known as to fix pubs. So I'd go into a restaurant with accommodation or a bar or a hotel, and I'd go in and as a manager, and I'd work in all areas, and I'd tie it up and fix it up. But it was so I could travel, earn money, and party. It wasn't an intentional, like, look at me, I'm a retail hospitality business coach. It's like, no, it was like, this is a really cruisy ride.
Yeah.
And I noticed the big shift is that I had this, I need to do my own thing. I need to create my legacy. I need to light my own flame. I can't keep doing it for other people.
Yeah, I love that. A lot of similarities in our story that I didn't know. Like, I used to manage bars in hospo, and that was just, I would, when I was like 19, I worked in an office. So I'd work in the office, and then I'd like work full-time hours then I'd work full-time hours in the bar. So there's this bar in Brisbane that I used to work in, and I would be on the 17th floor of the office, and I could look down, I could see the bar filling up. So on Thursdays I'd work in the office, finish at 6, start at 7 and then work till 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then go into the office, and then just had the late start on Friday. So I started at 10, finished at 7 that night, then started in the bar and did all that again. And, in that season of my life, it was just like, how much money can I earn to how much fucking, partying I can do, basically. That was like my ratio of life.
Yeah.
And it was very much a very similar experience, except with my mum, dying. That was like the catalyst to be able to create shifts with that. I was reflecting on it recently. I didn't recognize it at the time, my last time that I had a conversation with her, but it was like, she like literally looks me in the eyes and just goes, Cody, am I going to die? And I'm like she's been in hospital for months. And she like looks at me and just says that. And I didn't recognize it at the time, but that was the last time that she ever went out of hospital, because I took her out of hospital. I took her back to her mum's, which was like 300 meters away, and just took her out there and, fucked around a little bit. And, that was like one of the things that I recognized in hindsight. It was like, holy fuck, that was like such a point in my life to be able to go, all right, basically, Cody, get your fucking shit together.
Yeah.
From that point. So a lot of similarities. What's been the thing that you've been facing off with in terms of bringing more courage into your life now?
So I have a unconscious pattern of creating people that depend on me. And it makes me feel really important.
Yeah.
From clients to families and everything. And it's all woven into the previous thing we just spoke about, though. The courage has been working on our business in a way that I'm not as needed, and I'm more overseeing and directing and sort of it's funny, my team will love this. I'm saying to them, this is exactly what we're doing, but underneath I'm battling letting go.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But by all means, it's a battle.
Yeah.
I've been like, if they don't need me, will they stay with me? That's the current thing, because the business is doing great and we're at a really, really beautiful bottleneck that's me. So I'm the courage that I'm mustering and seeking help from, James, who you guys who were listeners long time would have heard speak a couple of months ago, is really supporting me in this and noticing it. And I'm recognizing where I want to, the smallest things, getting up early and starting at 8:30 when I promised I'd start at 9, just so I can get the jump on the day. And it's not for that. It's just to create that desire of wanting to be wanted. So the fun, I guess, exciting thing of this is I'm exploring in my life where I can create that elsewhere in a different way. And I don't fully understand it yet. And trying to find joy in the process.
Yeah, I think that's very, very important for so many business owners. Like, they have that kind of need to be needed in business and that want to be wanted, and they have that mechanism of like controlling everything, because then they feel like it's like this little dance between, they feel like they're contributing, but what they're really more focused on is like significance. It's like, how do I get the significance of the thing? Yeah. And that's one of the things that I see with so many coaches as well. It's like they build a business based on significance rather than actually creating something that they're never going to see. Because contribution is from that place. It's like, I'm creating something that I'm never going to actually see the fruits of my labor in. It's like in leadership, you cultivate someone to be able to step into their leadership on an even deeper level, knowing that you're probably not going to be the primary beneficiary of that. Knowing that, if that person even leaves your company, then they're going to go on and do even better things somewhere else. And it's really, really easy to talk about that and really, really difficult to actually journey it.
Yeah, so I'm in the journey currently, and I'm really happy you shared that, because I'm having a moment where it's like we are spending a lot of time with our clients. My toxic relationship with my clients is creating them to be a better leader in that process. I'm like, stop trying to clone yourself or make your staff like you, and actually bring out their skills. We've got some incredible team members at the moment where I'm allowing them to lead their part of the business. And it's, I also feel like the level of significance that you create might be the fuel that you need to get the thing off the ground.
Definitely.
And then the journey has to start. And if it doesn't, you've been around especially in this area here, but in the industry for a while, it's like the rise and fall of titans is very real. And I think it's very clearly linked to the fact that if true leadership is mentorship and mentorship is not being seen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been one of the big shifts, especially with me in my business. It's shifting from, we have like coaching containers, but then I also have like mentorship when I'm working with higher level people. And it's an entirely different dynamic. Most people are completely oblivious to the distinctions between both of them.
They're so polar different, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in mentorship, it's like typically what's going to happen is all of the things that the client is, journeying, you're going to be journeying on an even deeper level yourself. It's like the amount of times where I've been mentoring someone and it's like they're like in the process of wanting to burn down their business, and I'm like, hi reflection. Thank you for your beautiful reflection, and also fuck you.
Yeah.
What do you see as some of the core differences between coaching and mentoring?
The core difference for me is I don't call myself either. I resonate most with trainer, and it's because I'm quite comfortable to share a solid opinion knowing that I have to fall on my sword if it doesn't work for that person. I don't make a great coach, but I do make a great mentor for some people. A level of experience, lived experience, and willing to go there with somebody for mentorship specifically. I think a coach needs to be one part removed. So it's like, it's okay to be like, I don't have problems to your clients because they need you for lack of better words, a surface level problem, whereas mentorship is going really and deeply into where they need to be in 5 years and bringing it back to now, which James does really well on our business, and I do well with specific private clients. I think a mentor knows when they're out of their depth, like a real mentor. They know when they're with the wrong person, and I've traveled that journey and tried to mentor the wrong person in the wrong way. Lived experience, and also knowing when you're not supposed to mentor someone. And potentially mentorship versus coaching is mentorship. Yeah, it's long term. I think if you really want to have a mentor, for instance, it's something that you should be looking at 18 months, 3-5 years of working with the same person and journeying, and then and I guess also not becoming that person, and that's the mentor's job, not the mentee's job. Like holding them. Maybe there's a piece of you that is worth exploring, and that's what you're mentoring them through, and then they're also the rest of their life encouraging them to get second opinions and stepping out of the way. Yeah,
it was interesting, that journey with Nat. I basically got to a point where I'm like, listen, I love you. You can't pay me any more money. And it's like, it's not a never thing, but it's like, well, we've had our season, and if our seasons interact again, then that's going to be beautiful. And if not, then that's okay too. And I think that that's part of like one of the big limitations with like coaching industry is like some people's ascension pathways for people to become part of the team comparative to becoming, a partner. It's like, we can partner on them with events. We can partner on them with these things where actually people actually grow beyond it, rather than, all right, well, I'm going to stay in the community that I'm in and just, ascend through the community, but not actually create anything beyond that. And, people going beyond that and actually starting to create their own voice is one of the biggest things. And I think that's one of the biggest distinctions around like coaching versus mentoring. Mentoring, you're ensuring that people have absolute discernment around everything that you tell them. It's like, listen, these are the principles, and your intuition's probably going to be able to tell you exactly which one of these to be able to apply and which one to be able to get rid of. And I see that James commented on my post the other day around, people who are doing 10K a month versus 50K a month showing up in a room entirely differently. And it's 100% true. It's like the depth at which you can discern what is for you and also like get rid of that and actually know exactly what your path is and say, I'm going this way, that's going to determine your success more than anything else. And that's very much a long-term game because you can't play the trends when you do that. So,
and as a mentor, I guess the times where I know where I'm most off track in mentoring is when I feel any resistance or emotion around somebody making a choice different to what I'd suggested, which has been a big lesson for me. It's like if I can feel that, hey, well, you should have just fucking did what I said and you wouldn't have created this problem. That's when I know I'm probably out of my place.
Yeah.
And I think adjusting that has been something that I've learned in the last 2 years and the 3 to 5 years before that I was playing, pretending.
Yeah. What would you say to people who are looking at working with a business partner? So you've had business partners.
Don't fucking do it.
You've had business partners that have gone well for a period.
Yeah.
And then that season kind of shifts.
Yeah.
One of the core things that I recognize, especially if you're thinking mentoring energy, it's like everything has its season. Sometimes that's a moment where you meet someone. Sometimes that's a month. Sometimes that's a year. Sometimes it's like a decade.
Yeah.
And people resist what the length of the season is often rather than going, I'm going to end this season right now based on you giving your power away to me too much.
Yeah.
That's just a bit of a side tangent with that. What's been your relationship with partnering with people? And then also what would you say to people looking at getting into business partnerships?
I think that I think it's one of the most impactful and potent things that you can do if it's done well and it's done correctly. And I read the attachment style book, of those to understand what your attachment style, what your business attachment style is, and then really understanding that a business that you're creating is a living, breathing entity. And quickly discerning with what you're creating is that's something. I'm someone, they're someone, and these are linked through conversation. We're not the same thing. The separation in business partnership is really important. Exit clauses and the conversation around what it would look like if this doesn't work. And I hate it, but like radical conversations on the depths of, so for instance, James and I sat down before we started the business and we shared our deepest fears of each other. Not our deepest fears is that my fear of you is that his was of mine, that I was going to take away all his time and tranquility and things like this. And we call it the rattlesnake in the deal when it comes to a partnership. There's something that's going to fucking bite you because no one's compatible. Like that's an irrational thought. You've got kids and a wife and stuff. That the compatibility is an illusion.
Yeah, and in business with it too. So
right. So it's an illusion, and if you don't, there's tolerable things in business, and then you have to know what your tolerances are and what your boundaries are. And if you're not willing to leave someone, then you shouldn't be in business with them because you don't understand where your boundaries are or where they're set or what a no is. And then all of a sudden you be on a tangent and you see often, and they shouldn't be your mentor either. I guess that's just like me training, it's an opinion. If you go into business with your mentor and it's a long-term business where you're sharing funds and sharing capital and there's somebody of a higher level of consciousness in the opinion of the room, then you'll probably find it really hard to break through that. Business partnerships, I feel, need to be paired, where we're on equal standing. We both bring different skill sets and understanding what those skill sets are and just move slow. Like start with separate ABNs or ACNs and then have a holding company if you're going to go into business together and put the money in and then do dividends regularly, like weekly meet about money, weekly meet about direction, and spend the first forming stages of business before you go into the storm and the challenges when the conflicts come up. Focus heavily on who does what, where does it happen, where's money, what do percentages look like, how are we going to pay for things, and spend a lot of your time on it, like 80% of your time on building the foundations and the structure. And then in that stage, be looking more for reasons to leave than stay. Because if you look for reasons to stay, we're delusional creatures. Like, we'll just fucking make up anything. Like, it's going to be amazing. I love them. But they also did, do you remember when they just did this thing and you're like, yeah, but they're really nice. Look, to me, when no one's around, it's like, if you're making excuses, run, really define. And I think just to really confirm with the mentorship to mentee, it's like, there's timings as well. Like, sometimes you've got to be recognized that things have a season. The business that I'm in with James at the moment, this season is going to be a long one. But I've been in previous relationships with people where I've known it's time, and I hadn't learned or didn't want to, probably, the emotional maturity to say it's time. So then chaos was created, and I used that as there's my time. As soon as the next blow up happens, I'm like, that's the time when I'll leave. I'll wait. And I think that's not the way to do things from a hindsight perspective. So business partnerships in any business are the most potent thing you can do. They're not 1 + 1. They're 1 + 1 = 1,000 if you do it well. And it's in the polarity of it all, it's the opposite when you do it wrong. And I've made 18-month fuck ups that I also profited like $750,000 off. So they're not that bad. Like, don't just hold on to the fact that it ended. It was actually a really beautiful time in my life for some of them.
Yeah, it's interesting. The amount of times where people have called me in to save a partnership. And
don't save it.
Normally I'm like, all right, let's meet. And then 15 minutes in, I'm like, what am I doing here? Can I just tell you that you can just go different ways already?
Yeah, that's the anxious and avoidant attachment styles. Like, I think if you're going to be in business, I've had the same experience.
Yeah,
I brought on a business partner. I'm like, fuck, here we go. Like, if someone's excited to tell me, I'm normally really concerned.
Yeah.
If it's like, hey, I'm thinking about partnering with this person and it's a really deliberate, conscious action, and what do you think, and can we go through it? Not, I've brought on a business partner. Can you teach us how to work together? It's like, what do you mean you've brought on a business partner?
Yeah.
Who's gonna? And you go, often you're not making enough money to fucking pay yourself, so you're solving a problem with them.
Yep.
That's a really key point, actually, that we just got to. It's like, if they're going to fix something, it's probably not the right choice.
Yep. Yeah. I remember having some conversations like in the past where people are like, all right, well, we're going to bring in funding partners for all of these businesses. And I'm like, well, if they got proof of concept yet, can we just, put the brakes on bringing in all these outside things before we actually start to actually get something that's working?
Yeah.
And I think that's, we're hardwired as entrepreneurs to be able to want to move fast. And it's one of those things where it's just like, all right, let's just go all in. Let's just, do all the things. No, we don't need paperwork. It's just like, let's do it. And as soon as you're at that point, you're just like, let's not.
It's not the time to do it.
Yeah.
It's the stalling is something that it is a learnt behavior. So I believe in nature versus nurture, and then there's skills that you learn because they work. And that now is something like I'll withhold a lot because my ability to close sales is also outweighs my ability to deliver what I can close on. And I recognized that about 2 years ago. I was like, I'm better at this than I should be because I don't have the team or the resources to deliver on it. And just because I can, it doesn't mean I should. And I've taken that with me. We do some enterprise deals, and the first thing I work on is it's Charky's work, but product first, then marketing, and then sales. We need more sales. I was like, no, you don't. This thing's not selling because it's shit, not because you're bad or you're broken, or we just need to work on the product, the market fit and those kind of things. And I think partnerships are often created from this isn't working, or it's taking too long. That's the other thing. I've been working at it for 2 years and I haven't gotten anywhere. So if I bring in a business partner and we both work on it together, then we'll get there twice as fast, which is never. We'll get there twice as fast as never. We'll do never twice the speed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. How do how do you know if you've got a good business partner then? What are the telltale signs?
The first thing is the challenge is frustrating enough when they do challenge you.
Yeah.
I think it's frustrating enough that you question the business partnership, the initial challenge. An example of that is with James and I. It's like he doesn't want to work lots of hours. And for me, I used to be, I'll throw as much time as I can at this to make it work. And I made things work, but strong-armed into place, and they were never great. They were really good, but never like amazing. So the challenge was in that. And I was like, well, if that's the rattlesnake in our deal, in our conversation, and mine is that mine with him is that I have a fear that he'll hold us back so much that we'll miss opportunities, which frustrated him. But then when we looked at that, we went, and there's enough of skill exchange and we're different enough that those two things blended together will probably make us quite successful in life and in business. So that feeling of frustration as we moved into a storming or challenging each other stage of our cycle and wanting to stay in the partnership is a really telltale sign for me that it's probably going to work. If you're unchallenged, then you'll amplify all of the issues that you currently have. So the first thing is like a really positive conflict challenge relationship of, no, you're doing that thing again. That could be enough. And anyone who's married or in a relationship, it's like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Like you're not doing what you said you were going to do. It's like, actually, I said that I was only going to do this amount of work and you're expecting too much of me, and you going, that's frustrating, but I get it because that's what we promised and we work together. So for me, it's like more being able to have conflict with each other in a way that creates change and innovation than it feeling good. Like if it feels if it feels really, really good and you haven't come up against conflict or had to sit down and work together and hash things out and make a plan that works for both of you in the way that you want to show up, what skills you want to deliver, whether it's time to hire and that hasn't created, then there probably is a lot of covert contracts in place and a lot of unsaid and unspoken expectations. And that's what ruins partnerships. So the telltale sign for me is definitely positive conflict and innovation from that conflict, not relegation, not like, hey, I'll just do it this week then. It's like, oh, how can we do it differently?
How does someone evolve their ability to be able to receive feedback then? Like when we look at like conflict, there is a mechanism of feedback that's occurring. And one of the core principles that are required for people to be able to create flow is like there needs to be a feedback loop. There needs to be, why is Instagram addictive? Because it gives you automatic feedback. It's called an autotelic experience where you get automatic feedback. A computer game, you get automatic feedback. You know what your health score is, or you know how many points you've got or whatever it is. How does someone evolve how they can actually receive feedback?
So testing is really the answer for me for this as a specific thing. It's like if somebody gives you feedback and you disagree with it and your intuition tells you otherwise, like what's an example? You should only be working with people over 50 if you're a coach, for instance. And you go, well, that doesn't feel right. Though if I trust this person enough to have this level of conversation where they feel comfortable enough to give me feedback, then maybe I should go consult a few people who are over 50. Right. And then in that process, if my intuition still doesn't answer of like, this is where I'm meant to be going, or you don't get excited or you don't get massive results from them, then you'll never be able to trust that person's feedback. I think it is a level of deep self-trust to be able to try things that are outside your current level of cognitive bias. Like I know that I'm right about this, and instead actually taking on feedback from others, testing it, seeing if it works, and if it doesn't work, and not one time, tried it, didn't work. It's like actually spending 6-12 months consulting someone, getting feedback, building the muscle. And I really think that the self-trust and the trust of others is exercise. It's not a surrender. Like, it's an active process.
Mm.
And being really comfortable, this will work for some business owners and entrepreneurs. And I think it's at the level of time that you've been doing this for, we're doing the one thing for as well. Be willing to be confronted by feedback and still take it and test it. For others, there's a level of willful ignorance that will help you get to that 20,000 a month, you know?
Mm. What do you mean by that willful ignorance?
Just ignoring everything and just going for it.
Okay, yep.
There is a stage in your life where that's actually super fucking valuable, and you've just got to go through it and watch the destruction around your life and make all the mistakes and have somebody guide you through that as well.
Mm.
But the willful ignorance works pretty much until you grow your team past 1 or 2, I think.
Mm.
Just as an opinion. It's like once you get past 1 or 2, willful ignorance no longer is okay because you're dealing with other people's lives. If you're working with a lot of people, once you get past a point where your ignorance is going to start to affect people that are trusting you, then you've got to get over your shit and do the work.
Mm.
You know, go inwards, probably slow the business down a bit, go inwards and figure out who you really are. But past that point, I think taking feedback from everyone. Like, I took some feedback a couple of months ago and I was just looking at this person going, you know, like, you're doing nothing with your life. Like, there's no level of success. You're giving me feedback on how I should be running my business and you're wanting to run the exact same business. And I looked at them and I was like, but I need to take this feedback because like, I have to take it. And it was through my teeth. I was like, thank you. I really appreciate it. Like, can you give me some examples of what that looked like, how I'd show up differently, what that would mean to you, you know, and how you feel like that, why you come to that conclusion. And I listened deeply and I learned something from it, you know, and it was me trying to wear a hat in our business that I shouldn't have been wearing. And then the ability to take it from somebody that in a previous life I'd have no level of respect for their knowledge. And then learning that it's going to come from anywhere, especially somebody who's got time to observe.
Yeah. How do you evolve that like bias then to be able to take feedback from everywhere, especially from people that you wouldn't deem successful? You know, where like it's
we're walking a line.
So how do you take feedback from shit kickers then? Because it's this interesting dance, like, right? Because there's, you know, eventually the same feedback just starts showing up, and sometimes you're going to get it from a mentor, sometimes you're going to get it from a client, sometimes you're going to get it from your partner, sometimes you're going to get it from some random person on the internet. How do we evolve where we get it? Because we're very much taught, you know, you got to model success and only listen to people who have the life that you want, and we're fucking drilled that all day, every day. How do we actually develop a deeper level of self-awareness where we can actually just start to receive feedback, one, without taking it personally, but two, with like from anywhere?
For me, I'll speak for myself in this journey of how I'm learning to evolve it. So evolved wouldn't be the definition of what I have right now. It's a process of learning to do this. Would be like, I figured out that I was trying to be the specialist in everything. Which was an unconscious process. And I love to research and study. So you bring up a topic, I can normally talk about it. And if I can't, give me 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know? And I recognized that there was a certain few things that I was like genius at. And then everything else I was okay at. And I started being really humble and okay with like, oh, I'm not good at that. I started actively practicing, that's not my thing, like setting dates in the calendar, like planning events. Yeah, I'm just fucking hopeless. Like we would just be full. You know, there'd be a podcast every day, and we'd be running to an event, and I'm like, let's put it there. And it was like, well, we can't do that because you've also got to fly the next day to here, and that was something that I used to have to do in my business. And I was like, I'm shit. Like, I'm just not good at it. And then, like, I used to work with startups, and I used to pride myself in working with startups. And then James said to me, he's like, you're trying to help them too much. Like, I needed to step back and go, okay, I'm trying to give them everything, and what they really need is this one thing, or they need to just work with someone else. So I think the first level of evolution for me was figuring out what I'm a shitbag at, like, and just acknowledging it, and then going, okay, humans are a pretty predictable species. If that's my experience, then that's somebody else's experience. So every single person we speak to on some level with the nature and from their DNA plus their nurture and what they've been raised at and what they've had to learn will have some level of expertise. And if they're willing to come up and challenge me when I feel like I'm in a level of success, then potentially they have an invested level of interest in my journey. They're not doing it for like a radical, I need to knock this person off a perch. They're actually doing it because they care and they feel competent in that area. I went through religion's a great one for this. I went through being baptized at 18 and just trying to figure out church. And then I went to the church and I realized that wasn't what the book said. And then I left the church and I was like, I'm done with God. Like, God's not real. I'm not playing this game anymore. And I was out and I just that was me. If anyone brought it up, I was like, And then I heard somebody say a comment and it wasn't anyone of it wasn't like fucking Morgan Freeman or anything like that. It's just some guy. He's like, if someone's willing to pray for me and that's the thing they love most, then I'll let them. Like, what a beautiful gift. Whether I believe it or not, what a beautiful gift. So I guess if you can lean into this gift that people have and they're willing to share it with you, there's some truth and gold behind the message and just accepting that they have their thing just like you do.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Been very much journeying different forms of feedback recently, and I had we were running a business mastermind, must have been like July or something, and it was basically just like therapy for me. I'm like running the room and I'm just like getting all this feedback and stuff, and I'm like alchemizing it in my system the entire time, and it was very shit house for sales. It's like, you don't turn your room into therapy to make good sales, but you want to clean it up in you before it starts showing up in like new clients and stuff. So it was this interesting journey. And I've been very much cleaning up like a lot of integrity pieces of like all of the kind of things that I would consider out of integrity as for a coach now that I did in the past. It's like, I probably shouldn't have sold that person into that thing that was not good for them, not good for me. And I've been going through this journey of like having a lot of those conversations of just going, these are the standards that I want to hold and keep in the industry. And this is fucking way over here, left field. So I want to take, ownership of that. And it's been interesting. It's been interesting, the different, things that come up of like one of my core things is like, admit when you've been fucking wrong. And that's like in our manifesto, and it's like, no matter fucking how many times that I do that, it just still fucking gets me.
You feel the sides of your lips curl and your nose gets hot and you're like, I've got to do it. Yeah.
And I think that's like, one of those transitions that I'm kind of journeying with, that transition more into mentorship. It's like, be the coaching part over here, be the fucking perfect fucking pin-up person over here that's got the perfect things, and hide all of the shit that's going on behind the scenes. Hide it, but it's still fucking leaks out
everyone
the side.
sees it, but it's hidden to a few people.
Yeah, it's hidden. And I've been watching that play out in I guess bigger movements like Access Consciousness, DeMartini, some big NLP rooms and stuff like that. Just kind of how that coach kind of mentality of creating so much almost dogma that people put the person on a pedestal and they no longer see them as a human. How do we as an industry evolve beyond that?
Well, and we're unregulated in Australia, so James and I, and all the things that you've shared have been something I've been going deep with myself over the last 2 years. definitely sold people things they shouldn't have and then held them to it
Yep.
based on the ego factor. I thought that I was holding them to a higher standard.
Yeah, holding them to account is the language I use. It's like,
yeah. And at the time, there's a surface level of, I call it the paper on the brown onion. That's the kind of coach I was. Like mentorship and deep training is like layers of onion. You know, that brown shitty stuff around the outside, I was like peeling that off.
Yeah.
And some people need that. Self-regulation, and it's the only way we're going to move ahead. And if we ever do become regulated, I think they'll look to people that have got good reviews and you have to have walked the journey of this. I don't think you can know it without doing the wrong thing or selling the wrong person the wrong thing or selling something that wasn't exactly what you pitched just because you know that people will buy something. Like ultimate entrepreneur, we now say we don't sell magic. Like, and on sales calls, I'm practicing shit sales calls, and they work better than good sales calls.
Yep.
So I do like a 3 to 5 minute call of tell me about yourself and what you're up to and your family, and just have a chat. I normally do it while I'm driving or walking, like really unprofessional on purpose. And then we do a 15 to 35 minute call where I try and fix whatever they're going to pay me for before they start. So do you know how you never give the result, don't give them a win because then they won't pay? It's like I specifically link them with someone who's going to directly solve the problem that they think they have, because it's as you know, it never really is. And then we go into a sales call. I don't take money on the call anymore. I'm like, here's your invoice. You know, just get started, fix it up when you're like, I'm journeying this at the moment, because through 2020, I noticed that people couldn't actually give informed consent. You know, manipulation is so powerful that informed consent is a delusion for most people. And if you look through history and times, Germany, and people are just like, oh, I did it because they told me to. And I was like, oh, I've got responsibility on the other side of this. I don't get to say that they made their own choice and that was them being accountable. It's like I manipulated the situation and I'm good at manipulating the situation. And I need to know that I am, so I don't do it. And if I don't recognize that I am manipulating at some level, then I won't be able to serve someone to the highest level. So the first thing is just to get over ourselves. Like you are actually, if you are good at sales, you're a manipulator.
Yep.
And you need to have a direction. The second part of that is we injected a deposit, which is enough for our clients to sort. So we inject a deposit, so it's enough to sort people that really just can't afford it. And then that will be like, okay, your cash flow is that bad, then go see my accountant and sort your tax out. And we do that. Go see this person. You need marketing. Like fix this first. And then we do a monthly retainer, cancel anytime, which is another level of self-regulation. So we're no longer you're locked in for 12 months, 18 months, which is a lot of programs. It's like, it's up to me to make sure you don't leave. And then we're living by the philosophy of, if you're not willing to invest the same amount of time into closing someone in a month outside of their paid hours, then you don't deserve them. And this is the journey we're journeying through at the moment of and if one of our clients leaves, we look at why. Because we're probably considered training and professional services more now than we are coaching or mentoring. James does some mentoring. We have some private. We constantly have to upskill. Like we're looking at experts to come in, and the things that I've been teaching, now we're going, okay, I've taught, we've had people with a 12-month journey now. I've taught them this level of leadership. So we use Goldman leadership styles.
Yeah.
So we've been working on bringing in a guy who's amazing at 10 styles of leadership for a different perspective. It all overlaps. And then we'll bring them in as an industry expert to teach the level. So we're no longer sitting in like, I'm just going to teach you everything because I can get all the money, which is regulating us again. If I don't improve, then I have to find someone who's better at it than me.
How do you, it's definitely like, How do you see kind of the industry shifting, and especially in a high ticket capacity? Like we feel like, you know, the industry's training, personal development, all of the things, it's very much maturing. And in the maturation, there's more people that are coming in that are being burned, and more people that are still hungry to be able to learn more. And a lot of the old hardcore manipulation techniques that had been utilized in sales are, people are becoming more and more aware of them. What do you see as some of the shifts playing out in terms of, people buying high ticket?
It's a split audience. So the manipulation sales, as long as the product's good, I still see that working. I don't see the personal development, breakthrough, NLP room going anywhere. I think that there'll be, and you could probably, if you get the detail, if you get the numbers, it'd be fantastic. But there'd be a cycle of about every 3 years where it peaks and troughs based on people coming through, getting burnt, and the new generation coming through. Generationally speaking, I think that subset of people who are vulnerable, undereducated around professional and personal development through either parents not knowing or whatever it is, I think that'll never stop. I think that'll continue to cycle through because people need it. And if those people can get the level of integrity to not try and upsell somebody who is trying to have a breakthrough, 25 months of business coaching for $600,000, then that might be nice. And they just stay in doing that. And the DeMartini and these things where you learn to meditate and stuff, I think they should be good. And I see some, because of the level of connection we have, what are we at, 3 to 4 points of segregation? I see standard prices starting to emerge, not chosen, but memed through society. I see some standard prices starting to emerge for those things. They normally float around the 2 or 3. I think they'll level out at about $1,200. You go do a 3-day event and you get your breakthrough and you move on. High ticket, I think it used to be quite unique and special that someone spoke on stage. And now everybody has a shot. And it doesn't matter if they're not talking about anything at all. You can just talk about nonsense. And for a while, people were believing it, and that's changing. I'm noticing each time I speak recently with the stuff that I'm teaching now, which is around Belbin dynamics and Goleman's leaderships and Tuckman's stages of business, that I'm getting a really big response from people who are willing and can afford to pay high ticket. I'll speak to a room of 20 people and 9 will book in for a further consultation, and 3 or 4 of them will be interested in taking it to the next step. Whereas in the past, that wasn't the case. It was just they would sit right back and be reactive. So I think our level of presentation and people actually having knowledge, conversations like this, actually being able to recite knowledge and not just do slides or a workbook. I think conversational speaking will start to close people more high ticket than the show, the magic. And I feel like the market is already shifted quite heavily into there is a lot of people that have been burnt. There's been a few businesses that have had to wrap up for extreme circumstances recently, and there's another couple of companies that are offering high ticket to really, really wide audiences. And I think that those people are going to have to start, for lack of better words, sacrificing capital to have experts come in and be aggregated to teach these communities, or they're going to go elsewhere. That's where I feel the industry's going. It's we're not going to go to high ticket's not going to be a guru anymore. But then you look at some of the women in America that are doing, $100,000 programs, 8 women, and they've got 5 of them and they're getting amazing results. So I also might just be my subset of reality right now and the people I like to work with.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting in terms of the different kind of subsets of the market. I've definitely noticed a lot of the high ticket stuff is pretty much just been the same. It's kind of the same kind of trajectory of growth, but I've had a lot of clients mentioning that some people aren't like joining their programs at the same degree, which is like, I think there's been so many conversations with people about like cost of living, and I'm like, and it's like, so, and it's interesting to be able to see that, because the conversation is like cost of living here. The conversation over here is like, almost like the extreme is move to Dubai for tax purposes.
Yeah.
And then you've kind of got in the middle where it's just like, all right, don't really care about what's happening over here. Don't really care about what's happening over here. I'm just going to keep buying and doing the things and actually keep moving forward. What do you see as the marketplace as a whole? There's like kind of victims over here, and people just doing the thing. What do you see as the biggest growing sector out of those three?
Lonely people. Like the center is the one that I feel like is growing the most. This is these crises, if you want to call it that. It's like a propaganda-based crisis that's happening right now. There's plenty of ways to make this is a tangent, but there's a guy on Instagram he's some kind of coach. I'll find his name, and when we post the podcast, I'll chuck it underneath. But he like dresses up. He's New Zealander. He's a Kiwi, and he dresses up in like a high-vis shirt and a pair of stubbies, and just makes himself look a bit rough. Yeah. And he goes around and goes, all right, I'm going to go find a job today because I'm sick of everybody saying they can't find a job. And he finds like 5 every day. Gets like, and then he has to ring them and go, no, sorry, like I can't. I was just showing people you can get a job. The reason why I'm sharing that is because I believe we're in a time in history where cost of living has gone up, and you will potentially have to work smarter and harder and change your skill set and get more specific or figure out how to negotiate better. I think that's actually happening and true and real. Yep. Though all of my experience with, each week I speak to about 30 business owners that are earning anywhere from $500,000, but mostly from sort of 1.1 to 1.2 million up to 15 million. And they're all just super excited about this time and period because they know it's going to be the most profitable for them and they're going to make the most money, and they're in a build stage. So as far as like this level of the market, it's lucrative, and a lot of people are doing, even our people are doing leadership coaching and how to win incredible deals and getting great results. But they've also got like a life coach that they're paying $300 an hour, and they're doing their program at the same time because they've got a bit more space at the moment because sales have gone back, but they've always been pretty good, and they're realizing that they can streamline their business. So as far as the victim side of, I guess if we're talking about coaching clients, which we don't have a lot of clients who coach anymore, though I think it's the amazing time in history. People are fucking suffering. Yeah. Like I think you should be selling more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I think people always have the whatever reason, justification to not actually, evolve with the times. You're either going to ride the wave of what's happening or just get dunked by it. And so many people have that identity of, it's always just getting dunked by it. And, that kind of plays into AI. Like AI is going to, I saw a thing the other day. It's like AI is going to like wipe out entire industries. It's like, good, get rid of that fucking shit that people are wasting their time on. It's like, what are they actually going to do with their lives that is actually going to fulfill them rather than, it's like, we're not going to need garbage men. It's like, well, have you ever like seen a garbage man and how lit up he is by his job?
They love it.
They love it. They love it when my son comes out to wave to them every Wednesday morning. It's like he went to swimming today, so he didn't actually do it. But like literally my son runs out and you just see them, they're just like
exactly
like falling asleep at the job. And then they see a little child, they're like
some distraction.
That's it.
That's it.
Like they're
That's
just like, oh, holy shit. Like I'm actually like doing something that someone's looking at. Oh, I better fucking wake up.
Yeah. The automated garbage truck will be in the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Look, the AI thing, look at every major shift, like you look at these key points, like the Iron Age, right? So the first was the Iron Age. We started making tools. You went from being a farmer, a hunter-gatherer, a prostitute, or you owned a tavern, to then you had blacksmiths, you had silversmiths, you had jewelry makers. So the industries didn't get less, they got more. And then you went to the Industrial Revolution when we took everybody off the farms, and all of a sudden you had managers, and leadership was actually invented for the first time. Like we had leadership. It's like, oh, fuck, we need to teach people how to lead. There's not such a small subset of the population who knows how to manage people. So leadership evolved. And then all of a sudden there was car makers, and then there was, you know, people who were making windmills and pot plants, and like all these industries exposed, and all these people had these incredible things. It's like, oh, I have all these choices. What am I going to do? And then we went past the Industrial Revolution's computers create. And this went from like 60 things to like 1,000 different professions you can do. And everyone's like, hey, I was going to wipe out my job. But history tells us that there's going to be like 1 million different fucking jobs that you can do. And you're going to be able to do something that you really enjoy because there's so much choice. And there's not going to be all this noise about, oh, I have to go to get the degree. It's like, no, I'll just have a fucking AirPod in my ear with a pair of glasses on, and AI will be teaching me how to do it. And eventually I won't need them anymore. And I'll be the best artisan in the world, and I'll make the best pottery, or I'll do the best art, or actually I'm going to be the guy who goes and does plumbing for old people who don't want the robots to do it. Like there's going to be so much choice. It's never, history repeats itself. And if you look at the 5 turnings of like societies and evolution, and this isn't going to be any different.
Yep.
It's just going to be fun.
Yep. And there'll be, regardless, just like every shift, there's going to be people who are going to resist it.
They love, they're always. Yeah. And then in 10 years' time, they'll be on the other end of the bell curve.
Yep.
And that's why society works, I guess.
Yep. I think that's a perfect thing to wrap up on. Good tangent to finish off.
Love it.
What's the best way for people to be able to find you?
If you go into UE Training on Instagram, or Tyler Erickson, just add me, send me a message, and then someone from my team, most likely Cameron, will reach out to you. We give away loads and loads of free training. So it doesn't matter if you're not at a point now. We mostly work with business owners, sort of $500,000 for deal maker, $1 million for leadership training. But you can consume so much free stuff that you'll be able to get going without that. So if you're interested in doing that, just send me a message on Instagram, and I'll have the team invite you to everything, and you can come check us out. And then from there, sky's the limit.
Love it. Great. This has been fun.
Thanks, Cody. Always great catching up.